And good morning. Welcome to a very special edition of Truth to Power. I'm your host, Darwin Griffin, and we have a lot of valuable information and news to present to our valued viewing and listening audience today. But before we get started with my special guest, and we're going to have some other people that will be on the show with us today, but I just want to say real quick, a good friend of mine, Pastor John Hearn, lost his uncle, Gary. And I want to keep the Hearn family lifted up in prayer, as well as his other, Gary's other family and friends. But he passed away the other day, so just want to keep the Hearns family lifted up in our thoughts and prayers. And then also just want to make mention to another good friend of mine, two good friends of mine, Jerry and Larry Biggs with NACP, Western Wayne County, is in asking your assistance. They're looking for a kidney donor to donate a kidney to their daughter. So again, if you'd like to get more information, you can contact us here at the station, WHPR TV, and we can forward that information on to you, regarding about Jerry and Larry Biggs and the kidney that their daughter so preciously needs right now. But right now we are joined, and I say we, and I know Mrs. Hilda Griffin, my late mother, would be spanking the back of my hand if I did not go and introduce my co-host on this journey today. She'll be with me for the full 2 hours, and I do want to thank Kelly Maxwell for that. But I just want to say to Breshawn Maxwell, thank you for coming on and being my co-host today on Truth to Power today.
Yes, thank you for having me. Happy to be here. Excited for the conversation.
Well, and we are very, very pleasingly pleasured that you are on the show with us today. But right now we have another good friend that's on the show with me, and I promised him that I would not have any of that, how do I say it, that emotional, because he's a very emotional, but he's a very passionate young man, and very passionate for the city of Detroit, very passionate for the state of Michigan, and he is a friend to all and a son to Dorothy Terry, but that is the none other than Mr. Ishmael Terry, all for one. Ishmael.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Well,
And
we are so.
co-host. Thank you.
Well, I don't know if we hear a little bit of a reverb because I know you're not able to come into the studio with us, but we'll see if we can correct that. So if you've got us on speakerphone, I'd probably say take us off of speakerphone, and we might be able to hear you without that little reverb on the phone. But just want to give you an opportunity just to tell a little bit about what All for One is doing in the community, and I know you've got a big project that you're looking at to make an announcement about if I'm not mistaken, it's a soccer field. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, tell a little bit about who you are with All for One. Just give it a little quick elevator version.
Okay, so my name is Ishmael Terry. For those that don't know, I am the CEO of All for One, and we're a nonprofit 501c3 charitable organization here in the state of Michigan, New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago. And so we are excited to, we also have a subsidiary company called Pleasant Heights Economic Development Corporation, where we're in distressed communities and we are redeveloping those areas. So it may be new commercial properties or residential properties, recreation centers, or parks and recs, could say a few, and bring in business districts as well. And so with that being said, we partnered with the U.S. Soccer Foundation to put a mini pitch soccer field in the central region of the city of Detroit, which would be considered Dexter and Linwood. As you may know, in 2014, 2015, we did Yates Park. We redeveloped that park with the City of Detroit Parks and Recs. That is located by the New Bethel Church, by the old Aretha Franklin C.O. Franklin Church on Linwood. And then we did in 2016, we came right behind that and did Kyton Park, which is located on Chicago Boulevard in between Sacred Heart Seminary and all of those areas, between Linwood and Dexter, and we redeveloped that. So there was an open field next to it, and we just thought that we were going to put a baseball diamond there, but the city said that it was too small for a baseball diamond. So we said, well, let's look at some other options for that field. It is that partial field is split between the land bank and private ownership with the apartment complex.
Now, what does that mean? What does that mean, Ishmael, when you say a split, especially with the land bank? What do you mean when you say that?
So when you have land that's split, so partial land to me, you have a commercial or private public ownership on one stretch of the partial. So one piece of the land owned by one group of people, and then the other part is managed by the city itself.
Okay.
So that's why.
Okay.
And then it goes into width and length.
I got you.
Right?
Okay.
746 or 760 in width, 475 in length. And so that former stretch of that denominator was needed for us to get ready to put this soccer field there. So we wanted to do, we wanted to introduce something more than football and basketball, a sprinkle of baseball is known in the Black community. And we wanted to bring in a different identity, especially over there. As you know, in that community, in the 60s and so forth, we had the riots and we had the tanks and all of those things that was in that community. As you know as well, this is the area, this convoluted areas where the Olympia Stadium used to stay. You had the Northwestern High School, of course, and behind it, Central. You have all of this historic area, which is Russellwood and LaSalle Gardens, and Boston Edison.
Yeah, because that was a back in the day, Ishmael. Because we had Esquire, we had the corned beef place, we had the barbecue places, we've had the movie theaters, and the old Avalon Theater up there on Linwood, and even the YMCA right there, Dexter and the Boulevard. And so now, we see a lot of, things that are changing. Dexter Elmhurst is now the Helen Moore Recreation Center. And then I know that there's also plans to do some improvements when it comes down to the YMCA right there on, because that's where I learned how to swim at the old YMCA there. But one thing I want to say, Ishmael.
Yes, sir.
One thing I want to say too is I want you to give your contact information. So if somebody wants to find out more about your, about this field and be able to be, involved in just watching it develop, because I think some people like to do that slow motion camera to take pictures, and then all of a sudden by the time everything, they like show it from inception all the way to completion. So that's what people like to see. Just like they did with the new Gordie Howe Bridge. There was a guy that took pictures from when it was, like the vacant fields on either side of the, the United States and Canada. And now look at it today and having the completion. Because I was even doing the same thing. Because I've, in my lifetime, watched certain things, how they evolved. Because I was around during the time before the 96, the Jeffries Freeway. I lived right there. They had to tear the house down that I grew up in to put the freeway right through there. And other, people that I know that lived up through that area along that stretch. And the same thing with 696, because I saw that being completed. I wasn't around during the time when they put the Davidson Freeway in, which was like the very first highway. For those of you keeping up with Black history, that was the very first paved highway here in the, I think in the entire United States, Ishmael, that was created. But but I want to do something real quick, Ishmael. Before I want to ask you, you are an activist, correct?
Yeah, I'm a public servant.
And a public servant, and soon we may be putting the honorable Ishmael Terry on your title as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, it looked like that's crossing the road now.
Okay, well, we're gonna stay tuned with that. But I've got a lady on the show with me today. She's gonna be my co-host. Her name is Brashawn Maxwell, and she is an activist. She's a mother and a wife, and she's got probably a plethora of other titles, But the main thing is that today we're going to look at her in her activist role and what she does with NAACP Western Wayne County, and then other organizations that she's involved with as well. But Ishmael, I want you to give, since you're kind of the person that's been in the trenches, you've done a whole lot, give some words of advice to Brashawn about activism and what she should do or what she should be looking for from other activists that she gets involved with.
Well, so, man, I've been doing this for 3 decades and all of that stuff.
You keep telling me that you're 21, so you say 3 decades?
3 decades.
Okay.
It feels like I should be. I feel like I should be a lot older, but I'm only in my mid-50s. But I would say that to be an advocate for something, you have to have principles and integrity about it first. Because what are you really doing it for, right? Unless you like clickbait, as they say today, or to be liked, or be a part of everybody else's theology, right? But what makes you a strong advocate for something is the positivity that you stand on. It's going to be tough times. It's going to be things that get in your way that try to stop you from achieving your goals. But don't allow those things to take place, right? Stand on your moral standard or your compass, and then create an avenue where even people who are close to you will challenge. They won't see what you see. They won't feel what you feel about what it is that you're standing on. But you have to have the principality of standardness that will allow you to continue on fighting the good fight, to making sure that people receive what's needed. And your commitment is as strong as theirs. And sometimes it's even stronger as an advocate, because the small things that they don't see, you see it. And you create that block, that building road of success that gets those things accomplished. And you're not looking for accolades on the road to doing it. You're looking for that smile that kid gives you when they're receiving some resources or some good because of you. That's an advocate, right? Or that senior citizen who could not get to a call or to a person of resources that you were able to bring to that table. Those are the meanings of being an advocate. It's not yelling and screaming. It's not protesting and tying yourself up to a school door like I did at Eastern, but it's why you doing it that makes you a strong advocate, and then everybody else will see it. And don't wait for it to instantly come, because it's not going to come so fast. You've got to put the work in. You've got to stand up strong, even when those people run off and hide and say enough is enough. I can't do it no longer. As an advocate, you continue.
Well, Ishmael, I want to give Brashawn a question, a time to ask you a question, since you're the OG now when it comes to being an activist or being a person that strongly advocates for, things that you're passionate for. But Brashawn, do you have a question for Ishmael Terry?
Yes. So I'm actually coming up on my first year as a Michigander. Michigan is my newfound home. So I've come from a multitude of communities. And so I'm curious, what makes activism unique in Detroit, in this area?
Well, what makes it unique is you have people who still are around that was back then, right? And then you have the people in the middle of the road, and then you have the young people, right? So that's what makes it unique, because you can sponge off of each other and run your ideas from each other, and then approach it, right? Because the person of the days of the 50s and 60s up until the 70s are still lingering around. So you could get what happened in the civil rights, you can happen what happened with the NAACP, the Urban League. You can get all of that great advice from those people, and then in the middle of the road, so the 70s, 80s, and 90s, you can talk to them because they've seen the maturations and the downsides. And then the young people, you can see their future. And then that's what makes us unique. We can just bounce off of each other. So that's what makes it uniquely different here in Detroit, is that we're blessed to be able to have three types of generations of communication.
Well, Ishmael, I know we're getting ready to wrap up this segment, so I appreciate you calling in. But I want you to before we let you go, give your contact information again about All for One, and when the projected, just give a date, when the projected completion of the soccer field should be.
So if anybody wants to reach out to All for One and go to our award-winning, let me say that, our award-winning programs from the American Graduate Award for PBS and others that we received, they can reach out to our office at 313-378-8474. That number again is 313-378-8474. They can be a part of our 2026 National Youth Leadership Regional Conference that we're going to have here in Southeastern Michigan. They can be a part of that. So we have that. We have, they can be a part of they can volunteer when we get started in 2027, because that's when we actually start kicking off the campaign for the mini soccer field. So they can be a part of that. We have a host of different other programs and events that people can actually take part in. We do all the way through the holiday season.
And do you have a website that they can go on, Ishmael, that they can look other information up about you?
To allforOneDetroit.org.
Say it again, please.
Yes, allforOneDetroit.org. So that's ALLFOUR, the number 4, ONE, Detroit, spelled out, .org.
All right, sir, we do appreciate you calling in today, and we hope that you have a very, very pleasant weekend. Give our best to Bridget, and hopefully whatever she may be doing in the community this
she got
weekend.
Her clothing line coming out at the Easter market. Let me give a plug to her.
Well, I do it real quick.
Yes.
Say it again.
So Dreamlight Design, my lovely wife, is going to be hosting her clothing line at the Easter market this spring, summer, and up to the fall, winter. And you'll be able to get amazing clothing line from this woman, and you'll get things that is actually reasonable, financially reasonable for your collections in the women's home. So that will be taking place spring, summer, all the way up until the holiday.
All right, what they say, happy life, happy wife. So we want to make sure that you definitely give your wife a plug and a shout out to her business. But that is Bridget Terry, and she does make some phenomenal fashions, purses, all kind of items. Because I know I first saw some of the items she did using blue jean material. And she is phenomenal. So again, Ishmael, thank you for coming on Truth to Power with myself and Brishon, and we hope that you have a very, very safe and pleasant weekend.
Thank you. You as well. So both of you and your co-host.
Thank you. Okay, we've got a couple more minutes, but Brishon, I just want you to tell a little bit in terms of say about who Brishon is. I think Tim has probably told me about a couple minutes. So we got about 5 minutes real quick. So if you can kind of just tell a little bit about you, because we're going to devote the next half an hour to Brashawn Maxwell. So just give us a little snippet so that people want to stay tuned when we come back from break.
Oh, okay.
I know I'm putting you on the spot
Yeah,
by
I'm like-
saying it like that.
Yeah.
But you strike me as the kind of person that you've been on the spot before and you've handled it with the professionalism, the elegance, and the grace that I know you can do.
This is actually my growth area. So thank you, I guess, for putting me on the spot. But yeah, so Brashawn Maxwell, I am, like I said, a new found Michigander. I'm so excited to make Michigan my home. I actually come from Illinois, which not Chicago. Everybody hears Illinois and they're like, Chicago. No, I come from downstate Illinois. And it's like, what is a downstate girl from Illinois who's surrounded by cornfields doing here in Michigan? Love brought me here, and my passion for the Black community has brought me a long way to getting here. And I say that as someone who has been an advocate against domestic violence, as a former case manager, as a former program manager who did workshops in the local housing authority downstate, again in Illinois, but also as someone who spent time in St. Louis advocating for better education quality, and even some time in New Orleans researching ways to improve the quality of life and education down there as well. And so I am so excited again to make Michigan my home and continue to learn more from leaders such as yourself and those that we have been already joined with on the call, Mr. Terry. And yeah, ready for the conversation ahead. How'd I do?
And we know we got to throw out one more plug to somebody, or she'd be mad because she's been a sponsor to Truth to Power and also to Chats and Chuckles, and that is a pastor that has a church out in Inkster. That I know that's how you came in contact with us at NAACP, Western Wayne County. But I'll let you give her a quick shout out.
Yes, Pastor Overman. The Maxwell family loves you so much. Yes, if it had not been for Pastor Overman, I mean, within our first few months coming into making Michigan our home again, my husband's from Inkster as well. So within the
And
first
his name
few,
is
Kelly Maxwell.
Got to make sure we give him a shout out as well. Go ahead.
Gotta give my baby a shout out. But yeah, our first few months making Michigan our home again for him, we got in touch with Pastor Overman through Operation Refuge, and she quickly invited us to join just the general body meetings from NAACP, and we have not turned back since.
And you hit the ground running
Yes.
because she saw something in you to a committee that she formerly chaired that you currently chair now. Can you
Yes.
just give a quick snippet? What is the the committee that you chair now?
So the full title is Community Coordination Committee. That's a lot of C's, and then I'm the chair, which is another C. So we have shortened it. We've all agreed just for internal conversations and just to make it a little easier. We just call it the Community Committee. We're committed to just raising awareness of the issues impacting African Americans more broadly, but also all those living in Western Wayne County, because that is the NAACP branch we're talking about, NAACP Western Wayne County. Just make sure those voices and concerns are heard, and then uniting to actually do something about it.
Well, that and your timing is so precise, so impeccable, because Tim is saying that we got to take a quick break. So
Right.
we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back with community. Say it again.
Committee
Committee with NAACP Western Wayne County. I'm your host, Darwin Griffin, and stay tuned. We'll be right back.
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri. If you're behind on your property taxes, we have programs to help. You don't have to lose your house, and you don't have to pay all at once. This summer, our mobile unit will be visiting Wayne County communities to help make it easier to start a payment plan and keep your property. Go online or call to find the plan that's right for you and where you can get help from our mobile unit. The last thing I want is for anyone to lose their property to foreclosure. Make your payments every month and keep your property.
Feel good about your future with tuition-free programs at Wayne County Community College District. Whether you want to be in healthcare, computer science, the culinary arts, digital media, or robotics and automation for the next generation of vehicles, WCCCD has you covered. A full range of programs to achieve your goals, fit your schedule, and give you all the support you need to be successful. All of it tuition free. Now there's something to feel good about. Register today at wcccd.edu.
Justice for Mario Willis. Truth. Facts. Evidence. Matter. Log into justiceformariowillis.com. Read for yourself.
All media platforms are engaged. Copy. Get ready to launch your show or product. Periscope ready. We're 5x5 ready to launch. Copy that. Trend worldwide across all major platforms.
Ignition. 3, 2, 1.
The world is waiting. Watkins Broadcasting. More than just TV.
313watkins.com. Streaming on Roku.
And again, good morning and welcome to a very special edition of Truth to Power. And I saw that my co-host, Ms. Bree Maxwell, was kind of, I don't know the new term that people use. I think back in the day we used to call it moving and grooving. But I guess that, because I think we folks do some of the best sit-down dancing, I think, in the state of Michigan. But the thing that I was saying was just that just remind folks that that we have a intro music that is second to none.
Yeah.
And that intro music is by a gentleman whose name is Rome Lowry. Rome Lowry is the young man that was one of the founders of a group that some of you may know, even my co-host may know that, and that's a group called Maze. You familiar with Maze? Frankie Beverly and Maze?
Yes.
Okay. He was one of the founders of Maze.
Okay.
He and Frankie Beverly, naturally, and several other young men. And what had happened was that my initial co-host that I had for the show when I first started Truth to Power, her name was Letitia Sharp. She was in the process of running for treasurer for Washtenaw County. And she was my co-host, and she had asked her sister, who was married to Rome Lowry, could we use a song that Rome had written for the new group now, because many of you know that Frankie Beverly has transitioned, and now what we're doing is that we're using a song that Rome Lowry wrote that TMF currently has on their new album, and we got their permission to use this song as our intro. We fell in love with it. Everybody that's heard it has fallen in love with it. My new co-host Day has fallen in love with it, and she probably is going to Google it just as we hope that many of you others that are music aficionados will Google TMF, and that is the Music Forever, formerly with a lot of the members that were with Frankie Beverly and Maze, or Frankie or Maze featuring Frankie Beverly. Depends on how you want to say it. But, just wanted to give a shout out again. So we thanked her for being, and Eric Sabri and Hope Anderson, that was on my show last Friday when we had the treasurers from Wayne County, Washtenaw County, and Cass County on the show, and they gave some very, very valued information. We got a lot of feedback from a lot of people that had mentioned that they really learned a lot from that segment. And then also too, before I get back to my very special co-host today, tonight, R.J. Watkins, the president and owner of the station, Watkins Broadcasting and WHPR TV, as well as our general manager, station manager, Mrs. Maxine Willis, are going to be honored today by the International Institute tonight from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock. And that's going to be held at the International Institute building, which is located at 111 East Kirby, corner of John R. And they're going to be honored for all of the valued information, the things that they've done in the community. As many of you know, R.J. Watkins was the host of an organization and a dance show called The New Dance Show, which was the successor after Nat Morris and the Scene was on WGPR TV back when it was Channel 62. And they kept the name up with The Scene, kept the name up with The New Dance Show, then Late Night Entertainment with R.J. Watkins. This man has done a lot. So, he's being recognized tonight along with other honorees, but also to come out, get a chance. So some of you that may have never met RJ, I know every time when I have people come here to the station to do my show, and I'm sure others, Kimberly Clemens with Chats and Chuckles, and James Torrance with Gospel, Explosion, and some of the other hosts that we've had, on WHPR. When people come into the studio and they see that big picture of R.J. Watkins, when they come into the studio and into the lobby, and they see R.J. Watkins, and they like, wow, that's the legend, isn't it? And then when they look behind the desk to sign in, and sometimes they may see R.J. Watkins either behind the desk or in the green room or in the conference room or in one of our other studios here at WHPR, they like, wow, and like Malia Howard, who was the former deputy mayor of the city of Detroit, and other dignitaries have come in here and they're like, wow, R.J. Watkins, I get a chance to take a picture with the legend, get a chance to meet the legend. So again, they're going to be honored tonight, him, Maxine Willis, and others. The address again is 111 East Kirby, that's the International Institute, and that's going to be tonight from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock. And it is a fundraiser, so you can get your tickets at the door, but we definitely hope that you would like to come and celebrate this tremendous occasion with two of our pioneers here at WHPR TV. So again, we look forward to seeing you tonight. But right now, I just want to get more into detail with my special co-host today. Breshawn, you have had a whirlwind of things, not just in terms, say, with what you're doing as an activist, but also what you've done in the private sector, as well, too. Let's speak a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I guess for me, I didn't, funny enough, similar to Mr. Terry when we just had him on earlier, I didn't consider myself an activist until our phone call yesterday. I really wrestled with that label, because for me, that always, growing up how I grew up, which is in this pretty diverse city in downstate. So I don't know, for those who are familiar, the University of Illinois is in a city called Champaign. It's like Champaign-Urbana. It's like our little twin city. And because of that, our school, the surrounding community had the opportunity to be a little more diverse than the average small town. And so I say that to say the education that I received, a lot of it was kind of, you heard about the typical Black history things throughout the education, and then thanks to my D9 folks, just surrounding me in high school and folks like me in high school, I got to learn even more about Black history.
And when you say D9, I know what D9 is.
Oh, for example, in our school where there were a lot of Delta Sigma Thetas, there were a few AKAs, and I even recall seeing some blue and white floating around the halls from time to time as well. So some Zetas. And so I grew up as I was really coming
also
of
mentioned
age.
AKAs, so you said the Sigma Gamma Rose, because that's the
Oh,
other.
all of them. I was just naming the ones that
Okay.
were present in my
Okay.
my high school.
I just want anybody to be remiss and think that when we say D9,
Yes.
especially the sororities,
Yes.
we got it, because I'm a member of D9 because I'm an Alpha Phi Alpha.
Right.
But that we always want to give equal opportunity to all of the different
Yes.
groups.
Yes.
But go ahead, finish.
Yes, I didn't mean no harm. I was just naming those that were present in my school at the time because they were really all instrumental in just making sure that, especially for us high school students, that we had a well-rounded education. They really added to what we were receiving in class. So in class, I'm reading Animal Farm, which is a banned book now, which
George
is like,
Orwell.
it's like, okay. But when I go to my African American club, for example, I'm learning more about the deep Black history and the Harlem Renaissance. And I even remembered doing like a Black History Bowl and such, just in that little club. And so it was having that sort of hands-on experience with folks that really helped shape my understanding of the word activism. And so when I think activism, I think of those lone figures as it's painted in our history books. I think of the standalone, MLK. You hear about his dream, and that's pretty much it in the typical Black history curriculum or Black History Month curriculum. You hear about Rosa Parks, you hear about Malcolm X, you hear about folks in isolation. And so growing up in that kind of community, aside from my history books, I didn't hear about activism for real. It wasn't until things started happening in my lifetime, such as Trayvon Martin and that situation, as well as Mike Brown and the Ferguson uprising in 2014, that opened my eyes to, wait, this is activism and organizing, and it expanded my understanding of what change and movements can look like for Black people. Because beyond that, it was just history for me. It was just what I was reading in textbooks or the microaggressions I was encountering in class as a high school and then soon to be college student. And so having our conversation yesterday, and you're like, we're going to talk about activism and your activism. I'm like, me? Little me, I'm not Rosa Parks, I'm not. My mind went there immediately. But to your point, I guess my version of activism has, and I really appreciate your first question to Mr. Terry, because he really described how I've approached, I guess, activism as I've understood it in my own way, which is I've always considered myself somebody deeply passionate about my people. As early as I can remember, again, because I think my city was so diverse, I understood skin complexions were different. And I saw myself in history books and things of that nature. And so I understood racial differences. I also grew up in, I guess, the low or under-resourced part of our college town, one of the many parts of that town. And I got to see the people that I play with on my block, the people that I'm jump roping with, the people I ride bikes with. As we got older, I got to see them getting arrested, or I got to see our community, more police in our community. I got to see just the way that things that were kind of bigger in the world starting to trickle down into my neighborhood, but I didn't see it in every neighborhood. And it was those kind of experiences that opened my eyes to, okay, the world is different for people that look like me. I don't get why. And so that was a part of that curiosity is what inspired me to, I guess, really hone my passion for just trying to understand the experiences of Black people. And I laugh because if you ask anybody in grad school, I went to Washington University in St. Louis, and I got to create my own concentration. I have a master's in social work. And if you ask anybody, first day, they'll say, what are you studying? Most people say economic justice, criminal justice, things of that nature. And then they go around the room and they get to me. And it became this thing where they would ask me last because I would have the longest title, because I'm an independent concentration. So I would say that I am studying the physical and economic and social conditions that keep African Americans intergenerational captives to poverty. I would say that every single time in every introduction that I had, and I would get that reaction like, oh.
And then they'd be ready to say, all right, take a breath. And
Yeah.
then say it like 2-3 more times.
Yeah, and they're like,
just
and
the
that
way you
is-
said it, right.
And that is what exactly? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't have a clean label for it, because there's so many things that we've endured as a people. And so my passion has been, to this day, just that, not only understanding it, which is what grad student Bree wanted to know, but now changing it, building, rebuilding, and reimagining our world. And so I hope that answered your question. I know I was kind of higher level. I didn't go too deep into my career, but I think when it comes to what I'm passionate about, and dare I say a part of my life's mission, that is at the core of my service, because I don't consider myself an activist. I've always just considered myself a community servant. And so long as I am addressing those barriers that keep African Americans intergenerational captives to poverty, then I'm doing what the Lord put me here to do.
Well, let me ask you, Bree, because I know we've got to take a break in about another 8 more minutes, but just who were some of your heroes growing up?
Who are some of my heroes growing up? That is a good question. So I'm going to shout out, this is a bit later in my life, but I'm going to shout out someone named Linda Foster. These are just local people in the communities. She was actually, when I met her, she was no longer the president of the NAACP chapter for Bloomington, Illinois, but she has historically been the president a few times over. And she's just, I consider her one of the fieriest women that I've ever encountered in my life.
When you say fiery, what's your definition of the term fiery?
Well, if you knew her, you would understand what I meant. But she's always she always has a spark. So she is a joyful woman, but she always tells it like it is. And not in the I'm being harmful with my words kind of way, but in the I'm speaking this podcast. I mean, this TV show is the perfect title for someone like her. She speaks the truth to power. And so, for instance, she was actually someone that went through a child abuse case. She had a case that was against her because it was alleged that she abused one of her children. And so as a result, she had to go through the child welfare system and try to get the custody of her child back again. And it was through that process that she discovered, one, there's so many barriers, going back to the barriers, there's so many barriers that the average Black person goes through. And here she is in an upper level position at the university, but she still faced a lot of the same challenges that the average person is going through just to try to get her children back. And at every turn, she not only felt just how difficult it was, but also forms of discrimination. And it was a whole move she created as a result of just sharing her struggles and her testimony, a movement in the state of Illinois and McLean County, because they had some of the highest rates of taking Black children out of the care of their families. And so from her struggle, these statistics came to the foresight, came to fruition, and came to the surface. And as a result, it mobilized the whole community in the fight to help get her children back and also address the issues within the child welfare system in Illinois. And as a result, they created a parent advocacy center, which is a statewide program that advocates and helps and supports parents that are now going through the child welfare system.
Okay. Well, we got to take another break, so we will be right back with Bre'Shawn Maxwell. So stay tuned.
on aisle 5. Sounds like my life right now. Just one big mess.
What's going on?
It's my property taxes.
What?
I am behind, and I am so worried that I'm going to lose my house. I can pay some of it, but I can't pay it all at once.
Sorry to interrupt. I'm Eric Sabri, the Wayne County Treasurer. The last thing I want is for anyone to lose their property to tax foreclosure. We have assistance programs to help.
For more information, go to treasurer.waynecounty.com.
We're here to help.
Watkins Broadcasting is going worldwide. Now you can watch Detroit's own WHPR on your TV from anywhere in the world. No matter where you are, you can stay in the know with WHPR TV and Roku. You can get your easy-to-install Roku box from wherever you shop for your entertainment gear. Once your Roku box is connected to your TV and internet, go to the channel store on the home menu of the Roku box. Enter WHPR TV in the search engine and add it to your channels. That's it. That's all you need to get the best in entertainment, news, and talk, no matter where you are. Roku brings all of your favorites to your TV. Netflix, Hulu Plus, Crackle, HBO Go, and now WHPR TV, Detroit Live.
From the desk of RJ Watkins, this is a WHPR editorial.
I'm Ariana Watkins, and for decades, my father, RJ Watkins, has served our community with quality radio and TV service through WHPR and Roku. Today, I'm proud to stand beside him, continuing the legacy built on trust, innovation, and your support. We're here because of you, and we'll keep bringing you the best now and for generations to come. Thank you for supporting us and growing with us.
This has been a WHPR editorial.
Justice for Mario Willis. Truth. Facts. Evidence. Mattered. Log into justiceformariowillis.com. Read for yourself.
.313watkins.com. Streaming on Roku.
WGPR Detroit HD3.
You're watching WHPS, Highland Park, Detroit.
Again, good morning and welcome to a special edition of Truth to Power. I'm your host, Darwin Griffin, and we are joined with Miss Breshawn Maxwell. And we will definitely give Kelly Maxwell, her handsome husband, a shout out. And we're thankful that Kelly made some arrangements this morning to make certain that his lovely wife was able to be on the set with us today. Mm-hmm. So again, I can tell, and it's great to see, two people that are able to work out everything that goes on. And I just want to, before we get, back on, you're also the mother to a lovely young lady who is vision impaired. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Talk a little bit about, because I know there's others, and you had a term that you used yesterday that you gave me. Can you say that term again, what you would use to describe your lovely daughter?
Yes, we say that she's just differently abled.
Differently able?
Yes.
And when you say that, what do you mean when you say that?
It was a term I had to learn. One, as a social worker, I mean, I can only see the strengths in people and communities. It's hard for me to frame the negative and like not reframe it. And so that kind of education and rearing, just when I became a mother of a child that's differently abled, it was hard for me to look at my child and see her as anything other than as incredible as she is. So just because her vision is different doesn't mean that it's and I had to have this conversation with our 8-year-old, broken, or because that's what the at the beginning of disabled implies, is that something is broken or wrong, and when a lot of the times it's just different than what is normal. So that there's a lot of new terms to describe a variety of conditions. I'm not sure if you heard the term neurodivergent, for example, to just describe how, again, there's a normal or a set standard way that we have operated as people, I guess, before, based on who we studied. And there are people who are outliers. And I like to consider my daughter, who's an outlier, different, not anything.
So what are some of the special accommodations in your household that you adhere to?
And
how old is your daughter?
She'll be 2 in March. It's not March yet, so next month she'll be 2.
And give her a name so that she'll hear a name, so that when
we call
she
her
listens
Cammy.
to the okay.
Yes, our little Cammy girl. She is one of 4 daughters, our youngest of 4, and
You can get them a shout out too. We don't want to have any of them feeling like, okay, we just gave Cammy a shout out. What about us? But go ahead.
Yes, our K tribe. We have Kelly, Kaya, Corey, and Cameron. And so as far as accommodations, we haven't started many accommodations for her just yet, in terms of like reimagining our home for like wheelchairs and things of that nature, just because of her size. But there are some of the things in the Maxwell household that is, I guess, different from another household, is that we have, for instance, a pole in our home for her feed. So she feeds through her feeding tube in her stomach, for example. And when you come in the Maxwell home, we have a multi-floor. So on each floor, we have a feeding pole that we have to hook up her pump to, for example. We have a basket of bags that we have to use. They can only be used for 24 hours, for example. We might have some boxes of supplies that we have. She gets a variety of medications and things that she needs to for her feeding supplies. We get all of her feeding supplies ordered, for instance. So unlike the typical family that can go to the grocery store to pick up a can of milk, we actually can't do that. We have to order it, and it has to go through insurance. It's a whole thing for us. But some of the ways that for us, we wanted her to have a beautiful childhood, just like any other child. And so one of the things we've learned relatively quickly for her is that, one, she has to stay in her crib a little bit longer than the average child, which is okay. It's just different. And then 2, she needs more sensory toys. So for instance, a child her age can typically grab, hold, walk, talk, do a number of things. Unfortunately, our Cammy girl isn't there yet. And so as far as her holding things, her hands are very sensitive. So we try to put a lot of textured things in our home, or have her toys more textured. For her vision impairment, she is technically what they call legally blind. And so we try to utilize things that she can kind of respond to, because she's technically blind because we don't know what she can see. So if you ever meet, when you meet Cammy girl, you're going to see, like, she doesn't fixate on objects for very long. She doesn't fixate on people. So she'll look at you for probably 30 seconds maximum and then look away. And so we're not clear what she's actually seeing. So that's why at this stage, at least, she's legally blind. But with that, we've noticed things about her. She can fixate on some objects, maybe colors or maybe sizes. And so we just try to accommodate those things when we play with her, or incorporate a lot of jingle bells, because she loves music. So there's jingle bells all through the Maxwell house. There's different kind of textures. We now own our home. That was part of the reason why we moved here. We wanted a place to make our home. And I'm looking forward to adding more things to our home. Textured walls. You come to our house, it's like, why is there a carpet on your wall? That's Cammie's wall. You know, the average family isn't going to have that, but we have that because we want her to play and interact with her world just like we do. So,
because I know there's probably something to it, and I have to really give you and Kelly so much love because of what you're and the accommodations that you are making for her. And I want to ask you another question too.
Yeah.
I look at your strengths. I look at the things that you've gone through. You mentioned your husband several times during our conversation. What was the term that you used when you described him earlier? My love,
Yeah, okay. I throw out a variety of names, but the best word to describe Kelly is my partner.
Okay. What would your partner use as the one word to describe his wife?
He might choose passionate. I think he would choose passionate.
Why do you say that?
Because for as long as he has known me, I wear my passion on my sleeves. I'm a passionate talker, very expressive with my hands. That's why I've hit the mic a few times. Sorry, Mike.
Sorry, Tim.
Sorry, Tim. Okay. Sorry, Tim. My hands. But yeah, I'm passionate. When my mind is set on it, I'm gonna make it happen. But most importantly, I'm passionate about whatever God places in my heart. And so there's no deterring me from what God has put me on this earth to do. And so he's seen my devotion, he's seen my passion, he's seen my faith play out in every aspect of our lives and our journey.
So what kind of a world would you like for Cammie to see when she gets to be an adult?
Funny enough, I used to think like millennials have this bad nostalgia thing going on. That's why we got a lot of reboots and stuff. Like we got a lot of reboots because it's millennials and we're like, we want to see this stuff from our childhood again. Mm-hmm. But honestly, our childhood wasn't all sunshine and rainbows either. And so when I think of what I want my daughters to see, I actually think of this painting in the Charles Wright Museum. And I do not know the name of the artist, so forgive me, but I'm going to try to describe it to the best of my abilities. Imagine this little black girl standing and looking out into her world. And the world that she sees army tanks, she sees protests, she sees fires. And behind her, though, she has flowers blooming, the grass is green, the world in front of her is gray, but the grass is green, there are birds chirping, there are houses that are stable. And we actually continue to have conversations about that painting in our home, because we tell our daughters that the world that you see behind her is the world that we create for you in our home. Mm-hmm. So our children, for example, are not on social media, for better or for worse. You ask our social media, we don't have social media because there's just so many things that our children are exposed to that it's just hard for them to not see anymore. And so we do our best to create that world, a joyful world, a world where their needs are met by their built environment, that they can have food in their community, that they can have water, that they can have clean air. And I'm saying these things now as something that's actually radical, which it shouldn't be. You know, I shouldn't have to desire a world where my daughters have clean air and water to drink and they can afford to live. But unfortunately, that's the bare minimum that I'm trying to create. You know, that a lot of us are trying to create here in Metro Detroit and throughout Michigan, and unfortunately in our world. And so at the floor, that's what I want to see. But at best, a joyful, loving community for my daughters to grow up in.
And you know, when we talk about the world that we like to see, because, you know, there's been so many heroes either still with us or people that have gone on to be with the ancestors. But, you know, we lost the pioneer and the Reverend Jesse Jackson. And I know that they're having the homegoing services for him next week. I know they're doing something this week, and then I think they're also doing something next week in Chicago, and also I believe in St. Louis, as well.
I can see that.
And then I think they're doing something to recognize him also in D.C., as well, because he's had such an impact on all those different, cities throughout the United States.
Yeah.
But when King was assassinated, I know you were not, with us, at the time, but you've seen, Jesse Jackson was there, during that time. And Jesse Jackson also was a black man, ran for president of the United States. And there's so many people that have utilized his inspiration, his wisdom that he's had to inspire presidents. And also helped with the release of hostages, in foreign countries. So just real quick, what is your impression of Jesse Jackson?
I would say a pioneer for hope is the biggest, his infamous phrase, keep hope alive. Like, that is probably the phrase I knew and grew up hearing more than anything else. And Rainbow Coalition, can't forget the Rainbow Coalition.
And Operation Push.
And Operation Push.
Right.
And again, my education is a little different, coming just downstate Illinois, where you don't get the typical Black history education that a lot of folks have been afforded. But as far as Jesse Jackson, or Reverend Jesse Jackson, it has been the audacity to hope really is what Obama pulled from him. And is part of, dare I say, even my philosophy and what our movements and people and what we need even during this time. I think that he had a timeless message. We need to have hope, and we have to keep it alive despite all of the challenges that we are facing. And the fact that he was someone that stood there and witnessed so many challenges decade after decade, and he kept hope alive. It gives me, and I believe our generation and this generation now, the strength to continue
to keep hope alive.
That's
the way I want to hear. But we're getting ready to be joined by Jacob, and he will tell more about the organization that he's involved in and some of the things that they're doing. But we're going to take another quick break, and we'll be right back. And we are watching a special edition of Truth to Power. I'm your host, Darwin Griffin, along with my co-host, Bree Maxwell, and we will be right back, so stay tuned.
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri. If you're behind on your property taxes, we have programs to help. You don't have to lose your house, and you don't have to pay all at once. This summer, our mobile unit will be visiting Wayne County communities to help make it easier to start a payment plan and keep your property. Go online or call to find the plan that's right for you and where you can get help from our mobile unit. The last thing I want is for anyone to lose their property to foreclosure. Make your payments every month and keep your property.
Feel good about your future with tuition-free programs at Wayne County Community College District. Whether you want to be in healthcare, computer science, the culinary arts, digital media, or robotics and automation for the next generation of vehicles, WCCCD has you covered. A full range of programs to achieve your goals, fit your schedule, and give you all the support you need to be successful. All of it tuition-free. Now there's something to feel good about. Register today at wcccd.edu.
Every Monday through Friday from 12 noon to 3 p.m., it's the Tavis Smiley Show on WHPR TV and Radio 15.2. Also seen on Roku, Fire Stick, Apple TV, iPhone, and Android. That's the Tavis Smiley Show on WHPR TV and Radio. Download the WHPR TV app for iOS, Android, and Roku. The Tavis Smiley Show, distributed by R.J. Watkins Studios.
Clean up on aisle 5. Sounds like my life right now. Just one big mess.
What's going on?
It's my property taxes.
What?
I am behind, and I am so worried that I'm going to lose my house. I can pay some of it, but I can't pay it all at once.
Sorry to interrupt. I'm Eric Sabri, the Wayne County Treasurer. The last thing I want is for anyone to lose their property to tax foreclosure. We have assistance programs to help.
For more information, go to treasurer.waynecounty.com.
We're here to help.
Justice for Mario Willis. Truth. Facts. Evidence. Mattered. Log into justiceformariowillis.com. Read for yourself.
All media platforms are engaged. Copy. Get ready to launch your show or product. Periscope ready. We're 5x5 ready to launch. Copy that. Trend worldwide across all major platforms.
Ignition. 3, 2, 1.
The world is waiting. Watkins Broadcasting. More than just TV.
Block time is available. Get yours. Call 313-868-6612. That's 313-868-6612. Executive producer R.J. Watkins. Program director Henry Tyler. 107.5 FM. WGPR HD3. Radio we can see.com.
313watkins.com. Streaming on Roku.
All right, we are back, and we have been joined by a young man, and he's with an organization called the Detroit Alliance Against Racist and Political Repression, otherwise known as DARPA, and that is Mr. Jacob Smith, and we want to welcome him to a very special edition of Truth to Power.
Yes, welcome.
Yeah, hi, thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Kelly. I want to call you Kelly, and I want to bring Kelly's name out again, but Brishon, go ahead.
That is my husband's name, if you haven't caught on.
Oh, okay.
We're going to give Kelly enough shout-outs today, but go ahead.
#1 fan right here.
Yeah.
But can you tell us about the history of DARPA?
Yeah, sure. The DARPA, once again, is the Detroit Alliance Against Racist and Political Repression. It's a local chapter of the National Alliance Against Racist and Political Repression. This was an organization that was started in 1973. It was kind of founded out of the campaign to get Angela Davis out of jail and to get other people out of jail to free other people who were active in the movement, particularly around black liberation. So it started as a coalition of organizations, primarily organized toward fighting for justice against police crimes and for freeing wrongfully imprisoned people and fighting for people's civil rights, right?
Let me ask you a question too. I'm going to continue, but who was Angela Davis?
Well, Angela Davis was basically a radical activist, somebody who fought around particularly black liberation, was a member of the Communist Party in the 70s. She was imprisoned for, I think it was trying to get the Soledad brothers out of jail at the time.
Because everybody knew her for the big afro.
She's really famous for particularly a lot of her writings too.
Right.
Particularly Women, Race, and Class. Exactly. Really phenomenal book. And also she had Our Prison's Obsolete. I think she's one of the modern progenitors of the kind of prison abolitionist frameworks that a lot of people have these days. So
yeah, because you will see a lot of times. I know when I would see posters of her, with the big afro, with the blue jean jacket,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
you thought about activists, as we were talking about earlier, Bree, being a political activist as well as a social activist, you know, as well.
Yeah.
But go ahead and finish what you were saying about how I got started.
So anyways, yeah, I got started. The organization has been around in some form for since the 70s. So I guess that's, oh good Lord, that's going on 53 years now. Yeah. Wow. The national organization kind of withered over the years, but there were a couple chapters that were keeping it along, particularly like Chicago. They kind of built it back up, and they refounded the national organization in 2019. The Detroit Alliance, which I guess is technically the second iteration, because there was one in the 70s. I talked to somebody who was part of it. We refounded that in 2024, I think around May. And we've just been kind of, so far, fighting for justice for victims of police crimes. Two people in particular, Sherman Lee Butler in Detroit and John Zook Jr. In Wayne.
Talk about what happened with them.
Yeah. So both cases where the police murdered somebody who's going through a mental health crisis. So John Zook Jr. and Wayne, that was, I think, they both happened, I believe, in 2024. John Zook Jr., he was going through a mental health crisis. He called 911 to get somebody like, hey, I need help. Like, I don't want to be alone, stuff like that. And the cops showed up to his door, and they murdered him. They tased and shot him at the same time, as they often do. And Sherman Lee Butler was another case of he was actually in the middle of an eviction. He was over in Palmer Park, Palmer Park Apartments. He was also going through a mental health crisis while being evicted. Bailiff of the 36th District Court by the name of Craig Gregory, with the assistance of a Detroit police officer, were trying to evict him. The Detroit police officer tased him, and while he was being tased, Craig Gregory shot him and murdered, right? So those were kind of like the initial two incidents that we were kind of working toward. As we have been working with that and kind of like understanding the lay of the land with regards to like police policy in the city of Detroit in particular, and the kind of roadblocks you face with fighting for justice for people who are murdered by the police. We've been gathering information. We've been figuring out stuff about, what policy there is right now. Detroit, for example, is pretty lucky in a sense that we have our Board of Police Commissioners, right? We actually have a civilian oversight body that actually has some like real power, right? That have some power over like policy and at least power over, if not hiring and firing, then at least theoretically power over like whether or not people get promotions, stuff like that. They've got a say in like who the police chief is, things of that nature. Whereas like other cities like Chicago, they had to do a multi-years long campaign to get something similar. They had to pass like an ECPS ordinance, empowering communities for public safety. And what we were trying to do, like both as a national organization and as a local organization, is we're trying to establish community control of the police, right? We think that communities, that people, particularly black people, they have a basic democratic right over their community to have a say, to determine basically who polices them, and what those people are allowed to do, right? The Board of Police Commissioners we have is a step in the right direction, same with ECPS, but we want things like we want hiring and firing power, we want complete say over police policies, things of like that nature. So that's kind of like our long-term goal for the city of Detroit. Yeah, that's what we've been fighting for. That's all I got for the history. Sorry.
That's a lengthy history.
Oh yeah.
Rick, go ahead.
So with that, can you tell us more about the body cam ordinance that you all are fighting for?
Yeah.
Give us a little bit more about the background of that campaign.
Yeah. So that's a particular policy that we've been kind of working on for, at least a year, probably longer. So in the wake of the murder of Sherman Lee Butler, right? A big thing that we have to fight for as activists whenever somebody gets murdered by the police is the release of the body cam footage, right? So that like the people can see what happened, and we can kind of galvanize like a response around it, when they do horrible things and kill people, right? Out of that, it took about 6 months for the body cam footage to get released after Sherman Lee Butler was murdered. I believe he was murdered in June, and they did not release the body cam footage until December. And at that point, this is what they often do, right? Is they wait until I would say public consciousness has like lapsed around it, and then they release it, and like people aren't paying attention to it, and then the county prosecutor can just kind of sweep it under the rug, right? Which is what happened, right? Kim Worthy determined that it was not that there was basically no wrongdoing that happened, and they just dropped the case, right? So some of our one of our organizations that we work closely with, they're called the Coalition for Police Transparency and Accountability. They drafted an ordinance that basically it's the first of its kind that necessitated the release of police body cam footage that wasn't just like a police department like policy. It's like something that was around that was that there were within 7 days of the incident, police body cam footage has to be released. You can delay it for some time, like up to 30 days, but like within 7 days it has to be released. And it has to be released in, it's a very like broad category. So it's not just, oh, well, you can't just say like, oh, well, the cop wasn't the one who pulled the trigger, right? Or the cop didn't necessarily shoot him, so we're not going to release the body cam footage. It's anytime any kind of harm could be caused by a police officer. So it's very wide-ranging. Anytime a weapon's discharged, anytime somebody's physically struck, any kind of like car chases, things of that nature, to avoid these kind of loopholes that we got with the Sherman Lee Butler case. We wanted it publicly available on a website.
Well, now, when you're saying publicly available to who?
On an open website that you can go.
So anybody can see it. So I could, Bree could, or anybody else can see
exactly.
it. So it's not just for the law enforcement people,
no,
or for the defense attorneys or the prosecutors, but for anybody to be able to see it.
Yeah. It's not just for the law enforcement people; it's for the people.
Okay. And why is that so important?
Well, because the people deserve to have like the truth of the matter, right?
But when you say the truth being, because I know that it's a lot of things that happened, just like with George Floyd.
Yeah.
There was a lot of things that people saw, but then there was a lot of things that the public was looking at on video that somebody took their cell phone and was videotaping what had occurred. So I know we've had situations like that to occur, where body cams, the dash cams said one thing, but then the people that actually looked at their cameras from their phones said something a little different. The angle was different.
But it depends on the angle too.
Right.
And this is really more for cases where there's not like bystanders present, right? Because there's not always somebody around watching, filming the video, and that's like obviously like what you're getting from like a phone camera from somebody who's watching is probably going to be the best, or one of the, at least a different angle, right, that might show that. But, you know, if there's nobody around and all you've got is the body cam footage, then, you know, that's at least better than nothing.
Right.
Right? That's not just, you know, it's better than somebody just spinning a narrative at you when nobody else was around and just having to take their word for it, right? So that got submitted by our friends at CPTA to City Council about a year ago. They sat on it, they held on to it, and then around, I think last spring or summer, they released a really heavily watered down version of it. One that you could, and it's one they ended up passing, you could delay the footage for up to 60 days. It was only when police shot people. It was a very narrowed down definition of harm. And, like, crucially, it allowed for the editing of the footage from the incident. Right. And the justification they gave was to protect the privacy of people that might be involved. But, like, you could have specified, like, okay, we might blur people out. Instead, editing that, I think, kind of allows it to, you know, maybe edit the footage to fit your narrative if you're, if you perhaps don't want to deal with public backlash for killing somebody. So that got passed. We are still trying to build a campaign around the original version of the ordinance. Okay. We're trying to build support around it. Right now, we're in the stage of trying to promote it, get it out there to people. We're doing a lot of flyering, door knocking. We're trying to meet with, like, local organizations and, you know, not just, like, other activist groups, but labor organizations, nonprofits, you know, religious organizations too, to try to build, like, a more structured campaign around this, and create public pressure to get something that's, like, actually worth our time passed.
Okay. And given that it's midterms.
Yeah.
And everybody's thinking, you know, federal, state level, and unfortunately not always thinking more locally.
Right.
Can you describe at least the power, to some degree, that our state level officials have in regards to, say, body cams in our policing system?
Yeah, I mean, they've got a great deal of power.
Okay.
Right? You know, generally, you know, state policy can override, you know, city policy in a lot of cases. There's also, I mean, there's the state police in general, too. You know, there's, for example, like, if state cops shoot somebody, you know, you're trying to get justice for that. That's a lot harder than when city cops do. So we need to have them, I think, even more restricted, right?
Does that also incur, like, the same thing with, like, when you say city police, but also, like, sheriffs, the Washington County sheriffs, or other sheriff's jurisdictions?
Yeah.
And I know you were mentioning about with the state police, but is there a difference between the city, county, and the state?
Yeah, of course, they're all governed at different levels of governance, right? So that it kind of changes the scale of the campaign you'd have to mount.
Gotcha.
Right? You know, if it's county, now you've got to, you know, it's not just Detroit, right? You got to, I mean, you can draw a basis for it, but you've got all the cities in, like, Wayne County, right?
Yes.
You know, and if it's the state, that's even, you got to coordinate with multiple cities.
Yeah.
Right? So that's even more of a headache, where it is, you know, it is important. Now, voting is not the end all be all, right? Of what it is. You know, I think that you can go and vote, and that's, like, a great thing, and that will protect people in certain ways, particularly if you vote for candidates that are like, strong and are actually principled. But, like, that can't be, like, your only level of involvement, right? Like, a lot of people, they go to the ballot box once every 4 years, maybe, if we're lucky, once every 2 years, right? They cast their vote, and they go sit down. They say, "All right, that's it. I'm done. I've done my duty to engage in the political process," right? Whereas I think that's, especially in these days, right, with the amount of like lobbying and corruption that goes on, at least on the federal level for certain, but also like the state and local levels too, is that I think if you really want to be involved in politics and you really want to better your community, you have to get involved at a more grassroots level too. But it is important to go vote in midterms.
Yes.
Right. So.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Is there? And I know this isn't one of the pre-questions, so
no worries.
Forgive me.
No worries.
Just as someone that's curious myself,
yeah.
Are there any sort of national examples that we've seen, such as Asanya Macy is the most immediate one coming to mind, that you point to as like success? Like, this is a process that went well with the body cam ordinances, and this is why we need body cams, this ordinance in particular?
I'm trying to think of some that come to mind. I think in particular, it's difficult to have a successful one, specifically because there's not like set laws around it in a lot of places. Our ordinance is based off of what they have in Chicago, in a lot of ways. And there are probably individual cases that they have worked with where like getting the body cam footage out and early and public has like helped them get justice. But I'm not like super. I'm not super involved with the Chicago work. So.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
No problem. Thank you for that. Thank you
no
for that.
worries.
Because as a layperson, right, this is, relatively newish information for me, especially just learning that ordinances, the focus is local. My mind immediately goes to what I've seen more globally or more nationally. And so I appreciate you breaking that down. Like, are there actual case studies that we're using to say this is why we need this? So I appreciate that. So is there any other work that you all are involved in that you would like to speak to? Where would the average person see you?
Yeah. I mean, we meet every other Friday at a place called 27th Letter Books. It's over on Michigan Avenue. It's just out on the edge of Corktown. That's primarily where people might engage with us. But we also we go do flyering and door knocking. You might see us there. We like to, at least, once, twice a month, we like to go post up over at the Rosa Parks Transit Center and do some flyering. Usually, if it's cold, we'll come with some hot cocoa and tea and,
nice.
Try to get people to engage. But also, with regards to the other work we do, another place that you might see us engage in is at the Board of Police Commissioners. So for people who don't know, the Board of Police Commissioners, like I was saying before, it is a civilian staffed police oversight body for the city of Detroit. It was created in '74 by Coleman Young, and it's expanded to there's 7 elected officials, 1 from each district, and then there's 4 appointed. Right. We have been working to try to, if not directly increase the powers of the Board of Police Commissioners, to try to help the Board of Police Commissioners do its job, right? We work with a couple people, namely, if you live in District 7, Victoria Camille, one of the BOPC members that just got elected. We like to show up there. We like to talk to people who are experiencing or have experienced, violence or some kind of misconduct from the police. Talk to them. There is, I think it's every 3rd Thursday of the month. They have an evening meeting at 6 where, like, most people can show up and attend. And we like to send people out and talk to people. We're trying to, I think at this next one, the exact date escapes me, but we're trying to show up and get the board to endorse the version of the body cam ordinance that we're trying to do. So that'd be another place to find us.
So
nice.
one before I let Bree ask you another question, but
Yeah.
the other question is, are you a nonprofit?
No, we're grassroots.
So you're grassroots. So you can endorse or you can promote any candidate that might favor some of the ordinances or some of the bills or some of the issues that you're backing.
Mm-hmm.
Is there, you know, is when you look at your ability to get out there and active, you know, to be an activist or to go out and support or to, you know, protest against certain things. Is there something in particular that you are, besides the body cams, is there anything else in particular that you are encouraging people to come and join you to protest against?
Yeah, I mean, you know, for example, we like to try to build around national protest movements as well. In particular, you know, we like to take part in the No Kings protests, right? We show up to protest the Trump administration. He's a threat nationally, really internationally, to any kind of freedom and justice around the world. So we think it's good to like at least get people around together, stand up and oppose him. And also when we're getting people out that are, you know, very angry about the national issues, we like to try to get people involved on a grassroots level, on a local level to where it starts. But there's also like other groups that we work with around the city that I think do good stuff and have good campaigns. There's the Detroit Community Action Committee. They're also a NARPR affiliate. They work out of Southwest Detroit. They fight for immigrants' rights and they fight against ICE. One of the things that they're fighting for right now is to try to make Detroit a sanctuary city. So that basically, and what that means is to get DPD to stop them from any collaboration with ICE as a matter of law, and to stop them from doing information sharing with ICE. Just because, you know, if somebody's neighbors are getting abducted by ICE, and we want to bring people out and protest that and try to like stop that from happening, it would be a real help if DPD wasn't there, you know, trying to protect them. And it'd be a real help if DPD wasn't sharing information with them. There was the case that was just just last week? 2 DPD officers got suspended.
I was just about to ask you, were you involved in that?
Yeah.
Because we saw where Chief Bedison, you know, said one thing, but then, you know, met with the police commissioners, and the police commissioners were saying something else.
Yeah. But that's, I mean, you know, once again, I think that is a little bit more them being constrained by police policy, but, you know, I think like actual like written law is stronger than that. And I think you wouldn't, you know, get as many incidents of that in the future.
What about the cameras? Because, you know, that's one thing too that I was curious about. Because you sometimes see where you see the body cams, and when they're looking to get the footage from the body or the dash cams, in some cases they're not working right, or they weren't filming, or they weren't recording what was going on.
Yeah.
Do you also get involved in that part too, to make sure that like there's a regular something to make sure that those body and the dash cams are operating when they come in contact with somebody that they need to detain?
That's not a specific part of the body cam ordinance that we're fighting for, but I think that is definitely I think that could be in addition to it, right? Is to make sure that I would think that it would astound me if it's not already illegal, it should be to turn off your body cam when you're interacting with a
not to say that anybody would do that, right? But.
Well, not to say anybody would do that, but like people have done that, right? You know. So yeah,
because that's a critical thing to make certain that now the body cam, is that something they can turn on or turn off?
Right.
I mean, so like if they're not, let's say if they go to a restaurant and eat lunch or something like that, or eat dinner, you know, depending on whatever time the shift was, do they turn the camera off when they're not in, you know, how do I want to say, active? You know, always kind of like on duty, because if something happens and they're taking a lunch break or something like that, they're still on duty. But do they ever turn the camera off voluntarily?
I'm sure there's probably some policy around that. I don't know exactly what it is off the top of my head, but I'm sure there probably is. Like, if you're going out to lunch or something, that might be like permitted to, turn it off. Or I'm not really sure though.
Because that's the reason I just bring that up, Jacob, is that you have a lot of different things that happen, and with things that happen like with Rodney King.
Yeah.
Things that happen in terms of, say, with George Floyd.
Yeah.
Or things that just recently happened with the young lady up there at Van Dyke and 8 Mile.
Yeah.
That was being detained. And, there was one stance that Chief Bettison had said, but then actually looking at the body camera or the dash cam reversed what he was saying pertaining to that. And I think officer, just recently, now there's a lawsuit against the city of Detroit, because of what that woman was saying was correct, because the body cam showed that what she was saying was true as to what she was doing. And that's really a crucial point when it comes to the body and the dash cam to record these things. And then just like they had a situation I was looking at on the news last night where the lady was driving, kind of recklessly, and she was doing speeds in the neighborhood of 90 miles an hour in some neighborhoods. And I guess they had the dash cam was really recording her speeding through these neighborhoods. But then when they were able to detain her, they found out that she might have been going through some kind of a mental crisis. But they said that they found, I think they said, 8 or 9 weapons in the vehicle. At the time. So a lot of times the body and the dash cams are very important, especially to get actually footage of what did happen, especially when they stop someone. And then that person gets out the vehicle. What happened?
Right.
With that person. And then just like with the ICE, agents in Minnesota. When things happen, those body and dash cams can record a lot. And like with that lady, they got boxed in, right there in Minnesota. Where if you had that, if you didn't see the actual body cam and the dash cam, you might have thought that she tried to run over that person, but things showed something totally different. So that's the point that I'm just saying is, we know the value of those cameras. But that probably should be something to make sure that
they're on.
They're on. When that occurs. Just like those magnetometers going into the schools. They have those on. So that you don't have a situation where somebody brings a weapon into the school and does harm to a teacher or a fellow student or anyone. In the school. Just like that. But just as Bree was saying too, what are some of the other things that you do? Get out and
there's also one of the things that we have a whole committee dedicated to prisoner support. So we try to and that's from the foundation of the National Alliance, has been trying to get justice for people who were wrongfully imprisoned, right? We got
such as Mario Willis.
Exactly. And that's how we met. That's how we met.
Trevor Walters and others. And also that's how we, were in contact with Victoria Camille.
Exactly.
As well. So
Vicky actually turned us on to the case.
Right.
So we do that, which obviously that's we try to, at least we get the word out about that. We try to build like public pressure campaigns, try to, fundraise where we can too, for like legal fees and things of that nature. Also, we just started up something as a national organization called the Anthony Gay Task Force on Prison Conditions. So we're getting people to do research on prison conditions like in and around Detroit, and figure out like where that falls short. I mean, I think we could go on and on about how the prison industrial complex. There we go.
Are you involved too with that situation? And it escapes me real quick. The young lady that's got the mold.
Crystal Clark, Huron Valley.
Right.
Right. I've heard of that. We have not gotten involved with that yet, but that is something that we're looking into.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, no, where prison conditions fall short, I mean, once again, I think the prison system in the United States, I think it's not controversial to say that it doesn't really rehabilitate people. It doesn't really bring justice, and perhaps it's not designed to do either of those things, right? And I think it's more about perhaps getting money in the pockets of private prison contractors and other groups and getting free labor out of the prisoners, which obviously means that the well-being and health and safety and rehabilitation of those people who are imprisoned is the last priority. And so we want to figure out where and in what ways that people are being abused by the prison system, and figure out how to fight against it and compile that information on a national level. To try and bring like a national campaign forward.
So when you talk, to some kind of assume, what they say about the word assumption or assume, but you were looking at the Attorney General is up for election right now because we know that Dana Nessel is currently termed out. So now, are you advocating or are you supporting any candidates that are running for Attorney General, since that's one of the top law spots, in the state of Michigan?
We haven't looked into candidates to support yet. Usually, chapters of the National Alliance don't often directly come out and support specific candidates for political office, and usually when we do, it's like very local, right?
Because the reason I brought that up, because I know that a lot of people were asking the question, where was Keith Ellison when that whole situation happened in Minnesota? And then the same thing with ICE and what's going on here on the local level. And I know a lot of elected officials have gotten involved in that because we've had like Sylvia Santana, and I know that others like Stephanie Chang, we had her on the show and we talked about the detention centers that they were talking about, especially that new one that they're talking about right now for the 500-bed one on Cogswell in Romulus.
Romulus,
that they just recently had that little rally, I think this past Monday, and some of us from our branch of NAACP in the Western Wayne County area attended that, and they saw the skirmish that kind of broke out, where some people were protesting, and some folks were saying pro-ICE and pro-Trump, and some things happened, with that situation. But that's what I was just curious about, because I know I've had the Attorney General candidate, Ellie Savitt, on the show with me several weeks ago. And I've got the other candidate that's running, Karen McDonald, that's going to be on the show in a couple of weeks. So that's why I was wondering, are you supporting anybody in particular that may be more adhering to your values and the issues that you're looking at through DARPA?
Like I said, we don't generally do look at like statewide candidates. Not as a function of, it's not like we don't believe in the political process or anything, but I think it's a function of understanding like who we are and what we do and where our reach is, right? And we haven't really talked about it. That might be something we might talk about in the near future.
That either Bree or I might have to come to one of your meetings.
No, I'd love to talk about it, actually.
Well, Bree, I'll let you ask in the last couple, because we got probably about another 5 more minutes left.
Oh, okay.
I know this time goes by so fast. So.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've talked about a lot of issues already in just our short time. And one of the underlying causes of a lot of the so-called crimes that are committed is that of poverty. We see lots of crimes of poverty. And because of the nature of the times we live in, everything is just incredibly unaffordable. Every single day, things become more and more unaffordable. We've talked about ICE. We've talked about police brutality. Again, to the average ear, this is a lot. I mean, to the non-average ear, this is a lot for us to endure. And so what advice, for the few minutes that we have remaining, what advice would you give to someone who sees these issues but wants to do something but doesn't really know where to begin?
Yeah, I mean, my advice is to just get involved and get involved at the local level, right? Because that's where statewide campaigns are built out of, and that's where national campaigns are built out of, right? It all starts with you finding an issue or finding a group that you care about, getting involved with that, and it starts with you going out and like talking to your neighbors. It starts with really being a member of your community and organizing around that. And when communities like that get together, it starts like little Lego blocks, and you start like you can start building a national movement out of that to fix things like like high cost of living, and even like ICE violence and the brutality around like deportations, and even like the federal prison system. Those are all things that like you have to build a national campaign out of, and like but like that takes time, right? Like people power doesn't just fall out of the sky. You got to build it. So I would say find an organization, get involved. There's a lot of great groups around the city. There's us. There's the Detroit Alliance. There's the Coalition for Police Transparency and Accountability. There's a Detroit People's Platform. There's Black Youth Project 100. There's the A. Philip Roundhoff Institute, a coalition of black trade unionists, the Detroit Community Action Committee, Detroit Anti-War Committee, plenty of groups to get involved in. We all could use more people.
APR, CBT.
So we would love it if you'd just please come to a meeting.
Yes.
Yeah.
And give your time and location.
Yes. We meet every other Friday at 27th Letter Books on Michigan Avenue, just outside of Corktown. We're meeting this Friday. That's today. Woo, I need more coffee. And then we'll be meeting again in 2 weeks. But if you want to get involved, show up to those. We also have an Instagram where we post like what we're doing and our meeting times. It's Detroit AARPR, all one word, on Instagram. But give us a follow.
Is there a phone number too that they can reach out to?
If I had a hotline, that would be great. But unfortunately, no. It's Instagram or email. Also, I think it's Detroit AARPR at proton.me.
So real quick before we sign off. So where's it at when it comes down to this bill that you'd like to see instituted? Where are you at when it comes down to any?
We're building public pressure around it. We're building public support around it right now. So that involves a lot of flyering, that involves door knocking, that involves going to, once again, not just grassroots activist organizations, but nonprofits, faith leaders, community leaders, businesses, to try to build a base of support around that. We are doing demonstrations. We're trying to get an official endorsement of that from the Board of Police Commissioners. We're kind of starting the building phase of this campaign right now.
Are there any elected officials or public servants that might be in support of you?
Yeah, Victoria Camille, for example.
Police commissioner, right?
Yeah, police commissioner.
Any city council or any other?
Yeah, we don't have, like I said, I don't have anybody's specific endorsement. There's two that I can think of that might be interested in this, but we haven't had a conversation with them yet about it. Okay. And I would hate to give people the impression that they've endorsed something that they haven't. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, we are looking at city council members to try and get this thing introduced and push through. So.
Well, that's exciting work. I mean, you mentioned a lot, so I love that there are a variety of ways that folks can get involved with you all. I mean, immediately. It sounds like canvassing straight out the gate. So, Darwin, anything?
Well, is there anything else that we'd love to have you come back on the show?
Sure.
Again, and talk about it. I know I want to thank Trevor Walters for, kind of coordinating all this with us. And what's the other gentleman that?
Marcelo Lesia.
Is that the person that was going to also be on the show with us?
There's the other guy. Yeah. He's a lot cooler than I am, but unfortunately, I'm the only one who could get out of work for today. So.
No,
well,
no,
you still
you
got
did
work that
great.
still has to be done.
Yeah.
You know, at the
Yeah.
same time. But, you know, the other thing, too, is that when you do the work that you do, and I'm just curious because when you walk into the meeting for the police commissioners, what is the reaction when you look at Darrell Woods and the rest of the police commissioners, you know, on that stage? What is their reaction when they see members from DARPA walk into that meeting?
You know, it's mixed depending on the person. There's definitely like people on the.
I mean, you don't have to say no names. But
Oh
I'm
no
just
no no
saying.
no no. But you know, there's definitely there are police commissioners that are quite happy for us to be here and you know, pushing things forward and like once again talking to members of the community, and I think that's probably the biggest boon we get from it is we get to like really talk to people who've like experienced you know, violence or mistreatment at the hands of the cops and like hear their stories and you know, try to you know, at least if not you know, build around it, try to get them justice and get the word out for them. So
Good. Give your contact information one last time before we wrap up.
okay, Detroit AARPR. That's our Instagram handle, and our email is detroitaarpr@proton.me. So,
Nice.
Well, we have been joined today by Jacob Smith of DARPA.
Yes.
We have also been joined by my compatriot, and I just want to give you one last time to give the name of your committee that you chair at Western Wayne County.
Western Wayne County NAACP. I chair the community committee.
And if somebody wants to get more information about the community committee, how do they get in contact with you?
Well, you actually have to email me personally, so that'll be Hey Bree Maxwell. That's Hey HEYBRI Maxwell @gmail.com, and I'll be happy to share more information about our plans this year and the ways that you all can get involved.
Well, I do want to thank again, Bree, for being a part of this journey today. We have had a lot of fun. Definitely want to thank Trevor. Definitely want to thank Jacob. Want to thank Victoria Saylor. I mean, there's a lot of people that I know with DARPA that want to thank, you know, for being an opportunity. And I know I promised Trevor when we were down there with the hearing for Mario Willis that we would definitely want to go and make certain that we would have someone from your organization, you know, to come on board.
Yeah.
So again, we definitely wish you the best of luck with all of the endeavors that you are doing as well too. But again, just want to remind everybody tonight, 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock, R.J. Watkins, the owner of Watkins Broadcasting and here at this station, and Maxine Willis, our general manager, are being recognized for all of the work that they have done and they're doing in the community. So again, I'm your host, Darwin Griffin, and have a great and peaceful weekend.